Welcome to the GTP. My name is Scott, where we talk all things manga. Because we talk all things manga, let's go ahead and discuss the recent Viz Media manga announcements that are not going to come out till summer 2025. So hopefully this video will have some legs. In this video, I'm going to go ahead and go over each of the announcements and give you a bit of my first impressions and the research I did, just the little bit I did. I tried to, as much as I can, to read a couple chapters of each one that was available, at least in English, to give you some of my overall thoughts on what I think about these ones that are going to be coming out, and maybe ones that should be on your radar for the summer of 2025. And my friends, it's going to be a beautiful summer. So let's go ahead and get started. And I'd love to know in the comments below, which of these new titles are you most excited to check out yourself? And I got to say, what's nice is some of these titles are already on the Viz Media and Shjo app, so you can check them out right away. You do not have to wait till the physical release. Let's go ahead and talk about the first announcement, which was Tokyo Fears Rhapsody. The mighty monster just wants to eat human sweets in peace. But between fighting ghoulish foes and evading his mad scientist creator, life is anything but quiet. So for this one, they actually have a ton of chapters already available for you to go ahead and check out from Viz Media that you can go ahead and read with a typical subscription. And I gotta say, does this not give you Kaiju number 8 vibes? I mean, just look at these panels. I could have swore, I actually honestly thought when I was looking at some of these panels, I was like, huh, is this a side story from Kaiju number 8? So I actually looked up the artist and I was like, oh, this is actually a completely different story altogether, but I'm intrigued to go ahead and check this one out. Now, the next announcement was the Bugle Call, the Song of War. Luca, a bugler in a mercenary company, wants to escape war, but his supernatural powers force him to become a muse of massacre. I am extremely excited for this announcement. Wow, I went and I looked at some of the panels. It gave me some Vinland Saga vibes, just some of that medieval fighting with the fantasy, but then adding the fantasy elements on top of it with the war. Wow, my friends, I think I wasn't aware of this series, which I'm embarrassed. This one should definitely be on your radar. I think it's going to be amazing. This is a day one pre-order. I'm so excited to check out more of this series, and you should as well. Now, the next up is they announced a volume 27 of Dr. Stone. Now, I know, Dr. Stone was completed already, and then there was like this 4D science epilogue thing that came on the Viz Media app. I think it was only like 3 chapters, but they were really long, and it gave you an extension of the story itself and just closed some of the loops of some of the small things that just maybe felt unfinished from the overall Dr. Stone story. At the same time, I gotta say, it did open up more possibilities. I wouldn't be surprised instead of volume 27 that we got a volume 28, or they even did maybe a part 2 of Dr. Stone. So even though the overall story was completed with 1 through 26, which I'm surprised we didn't get a box set for, now we have volume 27 coming out. So this was no surprise. I own Dr. Stone, so this is going to be an immediate purchase for me just to go ahead and go with the collection. It was nice. I did enjoy reading on Viz Media app, which you can as well, so you don't have to wait. I do gotta say, this additional epilogue was definitely worth it. And again, it closed some different loops of things you were just wondering might happen with some of the characters. But I think it also opened up the possibilities for more Dr. Stone. Now, the next announcement was a bit of a tease, a bit of a, just a little bit, we're like, that's not what I want, but I'll take it anyways. And that was none other than the JoJo Bizarre Adventure Globetrotter guidebook of the series. So I'm interested in this, as I have all of JoJo Bizarre Adventures already. I went and I pre-ordered the art book that's coming out. More JoJo Bizarre Adventure. I'm looking forward to seeing a bit of the map and then the story with some drawings. I think this is going to be really interesting. If you're a fan of JoJo's and if you're a collector, this is probably going to be a day one purchase for you as well. Now, the next announcement, I'll be honest with you, I was a bit taken back and a little surprised, but that was none other than AST Royale. Superpowers appear after a meteor hits Tokyo. The heir of the Yakuza family must use his astro powers against his enemies, including his own sibling. Now, this is from the same mangaka that gave us Tokyo Revengers, which I absolutely love Tokyo Revengers. And AST Royale is actually on the Shjo app already, and at least at this recording, I think there's only like 23 chapters actually out. And I'll be honest with you, I got a little bored with it, and I was wondering if Shjo was actually going to axe the series. But hey, they they trust the artist here. They trust the author on what he's going to do. So I was a little taken back. I thought it was going to get axed. Honestly, I got a bit bored with it. I think I made it to about chapter 15. And I was like, you know, I wasn't getting into it. As you're following this main character who people are getting different powers and he's facing his siblings, and it just felt more of the same each time. It got samey really quick, and I don't know, didn't feel like it had much of that story element of even the Yakuza, this mafia where his siblings are now trying to have their own power and he's trying to unite them all together, and it was okay. So my hope is it does get better. I think the second volume just released literally in Japan, so I'm surprised that this was announced. Even though we only have 2 volumes right now in Japan, even though this will be summer, by then Japan will probably have a 3rd or even a 4th volume. So I'm intrigued to find out what happens with this. Hopefully the story does get better. I'll probably jump back on when there's more chapters out and see if it has more staying power, if it does make a turn. But as of right now, I'm like, it's just okay. And next we got our first but not last shoujo announcement, and that was Girl's Crush. A cool girl perfectionist admired by all scoffs at her classmates' lofty ambition to become a K-pop idol until her passion unexpectedly ignites her own dreams of stardom. Now this story is about 2 girls that are chasing their dreams to become idols. And I don't know, I found it kind of funny to think like, you know, they're beautiful, they're talented, but man, they really struggle when it comes to finding love. And I found that kind of funny. I mean, oh darn, I'm talented and good looking, but I can't find love. I mean, I don't know, it'd be more interesting in the story, I guess, if, you know, you had some flaws. I think that's okay. You don't have all the talent all the time. I think that's okay too. There's other stories I like that's not necessarily shoujo that I think that does that well, where at times is, hey, you don't have all the talent, but you're still chasing your dreams. Hey, there are people that are better looking than you, and there are features of you that you can appreciate and love who you are inside, and not just what the world tells you. So I'm interested to see what happens with Girl Crush. I definitely at least want to give it at least 1 volume to go ahead and check out, as I definitely have enjoyed so many shoujo stories. And moving on, we have a new Disney Twisted Wonderland, which I understand is extremely popular. At Night Raven College, you encounters a mystery surrounding unusually high exam scores. Now the synopsis of this, they're in this underwater dorms at the school, and people are known for their intelligence, and it's taking a little bit from The Little Mermaid with that. And then there's this cafe that they work at, which is Monstro, if you know Monstro and the Well from Pinocchio, so it's taking a little bit of that. And then their house warden from these dorms is known to be able to grant the desires of their hearts a wish. So I'm interested to see. I know this is extremely popular. If you're already on the Disney bandwagon with this Twisted Wonderland, you're probably already going to get this. It's not something I dipped my toes in. I'd be interested in the comments below. Is this something that you have read? Is this something that's interested to dip your toes in? And if so, which Twisted Wonderland would you actually start? And then next we got not 1 but 2 Spider-Man announcements with the forces combining of Marvel and Viz Media. I mean, they already did with Disney, and Disney does own Marvel, so it doesn't make sense here as well. As we get the story with the first one with Spider-Man, who's in this alternative universe with kaiju, and then Ultraman's there, and they're working together, and then this other one's in Oklahoma, which I think is funny with this. Spider-Man helps this boy and then they're attached together, and they're stuck together, and they're on this journey. And out of all places, I thought Spider-Man's in New York City. Where in the world did Spider-Man, maybe they tell it in the manga, how did he get to Oklahoma? And then attached saving this boy, and now they're working together. So I think that would be entertaining. So who knows, I'm not as big as a Spider-Man fan. I do love the movies. My son is obsessed with Spider-Man, so my guess is going to be something up his alley, and it also gets him in that lovely manga journey. So this is something I'm definitely looking to get for my kids. Now the next announcement we got is a shoujo manga, but they don't want you to think that, because this is called Not Your Shoujo Love Story. Rai-chan is ready for her epic love story with the most popular boy at school until her rival, Hana, confesses her love to Rai instead. Now this is a comedy webtoon series, and you actually can pull it up right now on Webtoons. As you can see, there are tons of chapters that you can go ahead and read for free of this series, and it's one I hadn't heard of before. I mean, there's so many wonderful things on Webtoons, so it's one I want to check out now. It looks like it's a very good, more on the comedy side of things, and as your typical reminds me a little bit No Longer Heroine, but you know, your person's not that terrible. And just the idea of wanting it to be like a shoujo romance story where you get the person of your dreams and we're all together, and you find out that reality is just not quite so. Now, the next announcement from Viz was none other than Cosmos. Cade has always had an uncanny ability to tell fact from fiction. That ability gets put to the test when he's hired by an extraterrestrial insurance investigation company. Now, this story looks like a ton of fun. You have this boy meets alien instead of boy meets girl, but the alien is a girl-ish, and she works for this Milky Way galaxy insurance agency and is there out to protect him. The artwork looks great. The panels, I thought, wow. So this is on my radar, and this is one I do want to pre-order and check out more, as I was entertained and I thought it was really good just checking out a little bit of the story. I didn't want to spoil too much of it, but I say this one just looks like a ton of fun. And the next announcement we got was a Spy X Family anime guide with looks like the second season of the anime itself. Now, this, I will be honest with you, I actually like the manga better than the anime. I know. But I mean, it is a manga channel, but the manga just has many laugh out loud moments, and some of those jokes and things that you get from the panels, I just felt it didn't hit quite the same with the anime. Now, I think the production anime looks really great, but if you had to pick, at least for me, if I had to pick the manga or the anime, if I had to pick one or the two, I'm gonna go with the manga all day long. I'd love to know in the comments below, what do you think, the manga or the anime when it comes to Spy X Family? So for this one, this was a miss for me, but I know for those out there who love the anime and haven't even read the manga, I'm sure this is one that's going to be an instant buy for them. Next was Surumi Omami, Not So Ordinary Life. There's something strange afoot at Yotuka's school. Vampires, ogres, and supernatural being walk the halls. He's drawn to a wolf girl. Can she help him overcome his timidness? This seems to be a cute high school antics romantic comedy-ish story. Remind me a little bit of Rui Dragon a bit when I was looking through some of the panels, or a little bit like Aruma Welcome to Demon School on the just-ish, the part of just with, the only thing is with the main character in that one's he's a human living with demons, and this is the main character is some people are ogres, some people are wolves, and he's just having to build relationships with these, it's humans, and then there's an intermixing of species together, and just some of that awkwardness. And I gotta say, the cover, for some reason, I was like, oh, is this Komi, but she's wearing a wolf? I'm like, nope, this is completely different. So it's on my radar. I thought the panels didn't look too bad. It seemed interesting, so I'd love to know more once we get some more of the panels are out and just read a little bit of story once we actually have the physical release this coming summer. Next up we got announced was Rai. Deep in debt, life can't get any worse for Sumi until she wakes up with a monstrous new arm and a foul-mouthed voice in her head. It's a time to battle deadly alien threats, all to pay her bills. Now, I don't know why, but when I was looking at some of the panels and reading a bit of this manga, it reminded me a little bit of Gantz meets Kaiju number 8, which Kaiju number 8 is so popular. It feels like we're getting more things like this as this girl is turning into a bit of a kaiju. And I mean, look at the cover, it looks a little bit like something from Gantz, and then there's actually a girl in this that looks like she would be from Gantz. And then they're battling it out together and helping each other, and so very interesting. I'm curious to see if it looks like it's trying to be more on the comedy side of things, to see how this goes. There's tons of action panels in this. And again, you're dealing with this person that, you know, they're turning into a bit of a demon themselves. Definitely seemed like it's not for kids, just with some of the humor in it. So I'm curious to see what they do with this. So I'm gonna hold off on this one and wait until I see more things about it, as there's just not as much information about this series. Next, Viz announced an art book for the boy and the heroine, which, you know, sadly I haven't even watched yet, which I feel bad. My family is a huge Studio Ghibli fans. So they announced that, and the second thing they announced, which I really want to get for my daughter who's 8, and that was the announce of Ponyo for the manga. Now, Ponyo is, man, the fishy in the sea with a round tummy is my daughter's favorite Studio Ghibli. I mean, the one that's 8. I mean, we talked before, I have an older daughter, but the one who's 8, this is her favorite Studio Ghibli film. I highly recommend it. It's great for all ages. It's a bit of this Little Mermaid spin of the tail. Gorgeous colors. I feel like when they made this, it's almost, you see, it reminds me of just a little bit of with the colors like Alice in Wonderland. So majestic colors, you're just mesmerized as you're seeing the scenes and as you're watching the story. It's just phenomenal, Ponyo. So for my daughter who's 8, I know she's absolutely going to eat this up. She's going to absolutely love this. So for those who are Studio Ghibli fans, if you're looking at something for your kids or for yourself here, I think Ponyo is a slam dunk. I'm so grateful they're going to go ahead and give this to us in a manga form. Now, the next announcement they gave us was called Snow Angel. For years, Muka has cared for her family and endured her grandmother's constant criticism. She loses hope of an escape. That is until her childhood friend Yuto appears one day and inspires her to live for herself. Now, I actually had some trouble at first finding information about this until I found out on My Anime's list it's actually called May the Snowfield Keep You Smiling All the Time. Now, this is a shoujo drama romance story. I think this is going to be incredibly popular. The artwork in the panels is absolutely gorgeous. I was just like, wow. Now, I am surprised there's actually not many chapters out for this. I think there's only 10. So even though there's only 10 chapters out, Viz Media decided to take a risk and give us this shoujo series instant. Anyways, this is going to be an instant buy for me. I was just like, wow, the little bit I saw from this, I was like, this looks so intriguing. It looks so good. So it's on my radar. I think it's one you should definitely want to check out as well. Speaking of shoujo, the next announcement was another one, which was the Demon Prince of Momochi House Succession. With Himura and Oi living together and mysteriously being from the spiritual realm, having entered the new Momochi's house. Now, I do have a confession. I actually had never heard of this series before, and this is kind of like part 2. So I'm like, huh, I should probably check out part 1. And I learned that it's not only a shoujo series, it has 16 volumes. Unfortunately, this one I only could see as a preview. I couldn't find a way to, and I could be wrong on just while I was clicking on the Viz Media app or the Shonen Jump app, but this I was able to click a preview and read at least the first 3 chapters of volume 1 just to get an idea for it, and it did look intriguing. So this is on my radar to check out the original series. Again, I'm a little embarrassed as with all this manga here, this is one I actually never heard of before. And if they're giving us a part 2, maybe I should probably check out part 1. All right, and next they announced for us is Kill Blue. Harden Hitman is always on his guard until he suddenly wakes up as a teenager. To solve the mystery of this transformation, he has to navigate the one place he's unprepared for, middle school. So this is an action comedy, and there are a ton of chapters. You can actually check this out on the Viz Media app right now. It looks like it's an action comedy series, and when I was reading the first chapter, I was laughing out loud. So I don't know if that would continue, but I'm intrigued to go ahead and check out this series. So this one's on my radar as well, just to go ahead and check out and find out more about it. I do like high school antics, and I think it's neat. Here's this hitman who's now stuck in middle school. For me, middle school is one of the worst times of my life. I don't know, for some of you guys, it gives you horror stories just thinking about going back to middle school, or maybe you're a middle schooler now, you're like, oh, it's so rough. So I'm intrigued to go ahead and check this one out. This one's on my radar, definitely. And hey, if you want to check it out as well, you can go on the Viz Media app and check out the chapters right now to get an idea whether or not this is something that you want to check out when it comes out in summer of 2025. All right, we're almost to the finish line. Second to last we got announced to us was News Exorcist. Gakuro has always been able to see spirits, but avoided them due to his dark past. That all changes when he meets Nu, a quirky pop culture loving spirit who turns his life upside down. Now, this series seems to be a bit of a Harlem manga with a little bit of action, but take that as a bit of a grain of salt. Now, on my anime list, this one's not faring too well. I mean, it doesn't have as many reviews, but I think it's around like a 5.85 or so, so not even a 6. So I'm a little iffy on this one. I probably look at my anime list way too much for taking people's weight on things maybe I should check out. I'm not as big on the Harlem series, so this one right now is just going to be a hold off until there's more about this, and then I'll probably read a little bit when some of the chapters on the Viz Media app for me, or the Shonen Jump app, to get an idea of whether or not this is something that I want to go ahead and read. Now, I do have some Harlem stories, but I'm like, I don't know. So this one we're holding off a little bit. Thank you so much for making it to the end. You probably already know what this announcement is if you're watching this video, or you looked at the thumbnail, you probably already know what it is, but it was none other than Steel Ball Run JoJo Bizarre Adventures Part 7, and wow, people were freaking out over this. I am so excited for this. On my anime list, think about this. I think it was number 2. It's in the top 10 of best series of all time. And there's something to be said about a series that's never had an official English release, and yet it is still that popular. And now we're gonna get a honest English translation of this series. I am so excited. You don't have to read the other JoJo Bizarre Adventures, as this is its own story by itself, its own canon. So that way you don't have to feel lost. You're like, oh, how am I gonna read all these other JoJos so I can cut up with this? This is its own thing. This is already gonna be on my #1 on most anticipated list for 2025. This has to be on your radar. Even if you don't like JoJo Bizarre Adventures, you have to check this one out. There's something to be said about the popularity on this and just how much it's moved people to Steel Ball Run with this race. So I am so excited for this. I'm so blown away. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, Viz Media, for hearing us fans and finally giving us Steel Ball Run. It's been many, many, many years in the making, so I thought that was absolutely phenomenal that we now are going to get this beloved series now in an official English translation, a physical printing. I'm sure the anime will be announced soon as well, as I think for at least the right now what we're going through here, I think that's going to end in March, the part 6. So hey, this summer is a great time to get into JoJo Bizarre Adventures. I've only read 1, 2, and 3, absolutely loved it, and just wow. So that's all I have for you. Those are all my thoughts here. Hey, thank you so much for watching and being a part of this community and us being able to discuss this together. I was just like, wow, man, summer 2025 cannot come soon enough. There are some great announcements that came from Viz Media, and I'm just so excited to see just some of these series actually in physical form. And then, man, the spring announcement they had, if you're interested in hearing my thoughts about the spring announcements, go ahead and click the eye on that corner and you can check out that video where you can see with Mr. Wawu and I as we discussed those announcements and just gave our antics on there. So, hey, thank you so much. Thank you for watching. Like to see more content like this? If you've not done so already, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon with a new video.